Unicorns Talk is a weekly podcast where we discuss the ups and downs of the human experience, from personal growth to romantic relationships and everything in between. This show is for life livers, life lovers, and life enhancers. My name is Latrice Sampson Richards, your life enhancement coach, and together we're going to laugh, love, and learn to maneuver all of life's little messes. Let's go. Hey y'all, you are tuned in to episode number 23 of Unicorns Talk podcast. My name is Latrice Sampson Richards. I am a licensed professional counselor, a certified life purpose and relationship coach for Black women who are ready to heal from their past so they can build the future that they deserve. And I am so effing excited about this episode. Yes, I was singing and talking at the same time just now. But I'm just that excited. I know I say this every single week, but I am especially excited today. I've been having a really good week this week. I'm not even gonna lie, y'all. Like, things are going really well for me in life in general right now. And so I'm always excited to kind of share that with y'all and spread the love as much as I can. This week has been going really well across my entire business. I really feel like things are just kind of starting to fall into place for me. And so I'm always excited about that. As you all know, right now I am doing the Empower Your Vision Masterclass, which is my first ever masterclass, and it is going wonderfully. On Monday, we had our first Q&A session. Module 1 was last week. Module 2 is going to be tonight, actually. Today's Wednesday, so Module 2 is going to be tonight. And so I'm just super excited about the direction that everything is going. The ladies that are in the masterclass, they really, well, from what they tell me anyway, they find it very, very beneficial, and I just love seeing people be able to thrive and grow, and I love seeing the little light bulbs go off in their minds and things, and so it's really awesome, and I'm looking forward to moving forward with that. So, we kind of been talking about, so my episodes have really kind of mirrored what's happening over in the masterclass, because I absolutely feel like there is just some foundational information that we all need to have as we embark upon vision manifestation, healing and vision manifestation. And so, even though, in the masterclass, I dig in a lot deeper, and we really get a whole lot more information about how to actually, incorporate these changes in our lives. But because I love y'all so much, I want y'all to get some of that information as well. And so today's topic is New Me Who Dis, which I've been wanting to use that since forever. I just love it, y'all. I'm so cheesy like that. But I actually really, really love it. So, new me who this, okay? That's how I say it in my head. New me who this. That's how it makes sense to me in my head. But that really is the topic for today. That's what we're going to be talking about. And it's really about, just talking about your support network. I want to talk about the company that we keep, and why it's important for us to have a solid support system around us. And then I'm also going to give you, I think, a few tips. Let me see how many I have here. Yeah, about 3 or 4 tips on how to, maintain a stronger support network, how to find your people. Okay. All right. And then, of course, we have the high five today, and some shout outs and things like that, some information I'm going to be giving y'all later on today. And I think either next week or week after next, we'll see. I actually am going to do the very first interview for 2018, which I am absolutely looking forward to. And so I have a whole lot of stuff coming for y'all. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So today we're talking about support networks, and as I said before, and I think as I was about to say, as everybody knows, but not everybody does know this. But your support network is extremely important. Change is hard, y'all. I think anybody who tries to convince you otherwise is somebody you need to turn around and want to run away from quick, fast, and in a hurry. Okay. Change is hard, and anytime you're embarking upon change, you have to have a strong support network around you. It's a part of me wants to say no, it's not mandatory, but then the other part of me is like it kind of is mandatory. Nobody has ever gotten to where they want to be in life completely by their own on their own. I hate when people use the term like self-made man or self-made millionaire, because there is no such thing. There is no such thing as someone who got where they are without the help of another human being, or without the support of another human being, or the input of another human being. I think for a long time people use those words self-made man for like Jay-Z, and I think this is really the first time it really kind of stood out to me, right? And he's this self-made millionaire, he's this self-made man, and nobody ever gave me nothing, and this, that, and the third. And I don't even know, honestly, if that's something that he said, or if that's something that was just kind of placed upon him. But the reality is that there was a time when nobody knew who Jay-Z was, and somebody had to be the first person to play his album on the radio. Even if he paid that person to play his album, they still played his album. Somebody had to be the first person to, call him in for a meeting for a record label or something like that. Like somebody had to be the first person to say, yo, let's go in the studio and let's see what happens. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody, nobody's success story occurs in isolation. All right. And so if you are embarking upon a major life change, and you are trying to do that in an isolated state, your likelihood of success is extremely lessened. All right. So a support network definitely, having a strong support network definitely increases your chances of success. It makes it a little bit easier for you to remain accountable. Sometimes you need to be able to be accountable to people outside of yourself. It helps you to remain motivated when you have people who are moving in the same direction as you. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in the tips section. But it helps you to stay motivated to continue to try to achieve and attain something bigger and better. People who can listen when you need them to listen, people who can provide advice when you need advice, and people who can give you real talk when it's time to give you real talk. I like to think of myself, hopefully you think of me as well in this way, but I like to think of myself as a part of your extended support network, because I genuinely am rooting for you. Whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish in your life, no, I may not have met you yet, but I am genuinely rooting for you. And I can definitely be a sounding board for you. You can, on the website, latricesampsonrichards.com, you can send in Ask Treese comment or something. Like if you have a situation that you're dealing with, you can ask me that. You can get in, feedback, or if you want advice or whatever it is, or if you just need somebody to listen and get it off your chest, I can do that for you as well. And I'm always gonna keep it real with y'all. You know what I'm saying? And so, it's important to have people around you that can provide those types of things for you. Because it increases your chances of success. Your support network also influences your thinking and your self-esteem. We've all heard the term birds of a feather flock together, and that's a very real statement. Why do you think that is, right? Even for women, this is going to get gross for a second, so if there's any men listening, go ahead and prepare yourself for that, okay? But, women that spend a significant amount of time with each other, like when women start hanging around each other for a while, your period starts to line up with each other, right? Every woman has experienced that. When you start spending more and more time with a woman or with other women, your periods, your bodily clock, I guess we can call that, it lines up, it aligns with each other. Okay, this is basic human nature. It is in our nature to mimic each other. And so when you have a strong support system around you, a strong support network around you, where you have people who are engaging in behaviors that can help get you to the next level, then it's good. It's a good thing that we mimic each other. You know what I'm saying? It begins to influence your thinking. If you're spending all of your time with people who can't see past tomorrow, then how are you ever going to see past tomorrow, or see past tomorrow enough so that you can start to plan for tomorrow and things like that? Okay. Everybody, human beings, we have this deep need for love and belonging. And so it's important to us to feel like we are a part of something bigger. And when you have the right support network around you, that is something bigger, right? Like we hear about people all the time who grew up in the hood and things like that, and they got the whole hood behind them trying to support them and saying, yes, you can do this, you can do this. Even everybody has heard stories of, like, the dude with the wanting to be a drug dealer or wanting to be in the streets. I'm reading Tiffany Haddish's book right now, The Last Black Unicorn. And she says, and like, I wanted so bad to be hood. I wanted to be a street girl. And the drug dealers and stuff was like, girl, get your smart ass off of this street. You know what I'm saying? Like, even the drug dealers and the people who are not doing what they need, or what's in maybe the best interest of the community, even those people support you. And that is being a part of something bigger. This feeling that it's not just for me. It is for me, but it's not just for me. It's for the whole hood. It's for the whole network. You get what I'm saying? So it can start to influence your thought process, how you see your success, how you see your ability to achieve success and things of that nature. And the goal here is to try to impact that in a positive way. All right. In my opinion, there are two types of support networks. So I think that there's a steady support network, or what I think I really feel more comfortable calling like your constant, your core support network. And then you have kind of like this variable, or a PRN support network. Okay. Your core support network is your group of friends or family that will always be there. Like, these are the people who are always going to be there. They genuinely want to see you be successful. And it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody that you've known your entire life. It doesn't have to necessarily be somebody that you're blood related to. It could be like, I have people that I met in college that are like in my core support group. And even though we all live in different states, different countries, everybody has their own thing going on. Some of us have kids. Some of us are living a single life. Some, like, we're in different stages in our lives. We still check in with each other, and we are still a major, core support system for each other, even though we're not interacting on a regular basis. So, that core group of people who have your back no matter what, who are always there. You can go months without talking to that person, and you know that when you call them, they're going to be there, and vice versa, right? I like to think of like Oprah and Gail when it comes to this, because y'all know how I feel about me some Oprah. I love me some Oprah, okay? And so I like to think about, that connection, that relationship that Oprah and Gail have with each other. I think people who have never really experienced that type of support, that type of unconditional care and genuine happiness for each other, people who've never had strong connections like that, it's hard for them to even wrap their heads around, so that, like, the fact that something like that could actually exist. But it does, and it can. Okay. And so find your Gail girl, or really find your Oprah. Why Gail always got to be the Gail? Gail could be the Oprah sometimes, if that makes sense. Y'all know what I'm saying, okay? So, because Gail got her own thing going on. Like we always talking about Oprah, Gail's Oprah's Gail, but Oprah is Gail's Oprah, and so they support each other equally. And that's an amazing thing, okay? The variable, or what I call the PRN group, those are the people that float in and out of your life as needed. PRN. So, for those of you who are in the medical profession, you know what PRN means, right? I don't know what PRN actually means, but I know. What PRN means, okay? PRN means as needed. If you get a medication or something like that, if a doctor writes a prescription and they put PRN on it, then that means take as needed, okay? So these are your PRN people. They come in and out of your life as needed. It is possible for a PRN person to transition into your core group over time, but don't allow yourself to get too attached to a PRN person, okay? Because it's important that you know when it's time to let them go. And if you allow yourself to get too attached, then you're really setting yourself up for, well, first of all, it can cause you to stall out in terms of your dreams, and your manifestation, okay? But then also, it can cause an onslaught of negative feelings, experiences, emotions. If you think back to some of, the negative relationships that you've had in your life, 9 times out of 10, those people were supposed to leave your life long before they actually did. And so, what happens is it gets worse and worse. Over time, you get more and more miserable because those people have overstayed their welcome, or you've overstayed your welcome. Okay. You have to know when to let go. They serve a very specific purpose in your life, and you serve a very specific purpose in theirs. Maybe their purpose in your life is to teach you a lesson. Maybe your purpose is to teach them a lesson. Whatever it is, this relationship is not a lifelong relationship. This is not one that you're going to keep with you forever, okay? The relationship will fade, or it's going to change drastically when that purpose is served. And there tends to be this natural transition out of the relationship, right? Like we didn't really have an argument, nothing really happened. We just don't talk as much as we used to. That is a natural transition. Let that happen. Let that happen. When it's time for people to leave your life, we have to be willing to let them leave, because that means that their purpose has been served in our lives, in ours, in theirs, and it's time to move on and figure out what the lesson is that we were supposed to learn from them and from that experience, and apply it to our lives moving forward. Okay? So your core group of people, those are the relationships that you really want to nurture. You want to nurture all of your relationships, because even those PRN relationships, those can be significant at that time. You know what I'm saying? Like, those relationships serve a purpose. They're not just throwaway relationships. They actually serve a purpose in your life. And so you definitely want to, nurture those relationships as well, but also know when to let it go and be okay with letting it go when it's time. All right. Okay. So that's it in terms of just giving you like a overview of like why support networks are important, okay? And just giving you some background on support networks. And now I want to give you just a few tips, well, about four. I have about 4 tips that I want to give you on how to find your people. So how do I find my support network? How do I find and identify my core group? But then how do I also find and identify my PRN people? Okay. So the first tip that I want to give you is that across all of your relationships, your specifically your PRN relationships, you want to try to stay within 2 to 3 levels ahead of where you are at all times. And so, what I mean by that is, whatever metric you are using to judge or determine your success, then you want to try to align yourself with people who are 2 to 3 levels ahead of where you currently are. Okay. 2 to 3 levels ahead of where you currently are. So if you're using finances to determine your success, if you're saying, I want to make a certain amount of money, this is where I am now, then you need to break that into levels. You need to break that into brackets. So these are the people that I consider to be in my bracket currently, right? That's level one. These are the people that or ground zero, I guess, let's call it, that I consider to be on my level financially, right? So 2 to 3 levels ahead would be people who are 2 to 3 brackets ahead. So it may not be where you want to end up, but it's further along by at least 2 to 3 steps than where you are currently. So, for example, if you currently make about $10,000, and this is a completely arbitrary number I'm using like strictly for the purposes of this example, okay? If you currently make $10,000 a year and your vision, your goal for yourself is to make $100,000 a year, right? That $100,000, that's 10 levels ahead of where you are currently, okay? You want to start surrounding yourself with people who are making 20 to 30 thousand dollars more than what you're making, or really 30 to 40 thousand dollars more than what you're making, because that's 2 to 3 levels ahead. So if I'm at level zero, right? If $10,000 is level zero, then level one would be $20,000. Level two would be $30,000. Level three would be $40,000. You get what I'm saying? Okay. So using that example, you want to start surrounding yourself with people who are making $30 to 40 thousand dollars more, 30 to 40 thousand dollars a year. Okay, it's not the $100,000 where you want to be, right? But it's more than where you are currently. The reason why I think that this is a good, way to kind of gauge where you are, or to really kind of start, I think a good foundation is the word I'm looking for in terms of starting to build your support network, is because if you go too far out, it might have an inadvertent, like a adverse kind of reaction for you. Okay. If you go too far out, it may make you feel worse about yourself. We talked about this idea of, belonging and being a part of something bigger, and how your support network influences your thinking and your self-esteem. It can end up causing you harm if you start surrounding yourself with people who are making $100,000 a year and you're not anywhere near that. And so they're doing things that they can do at $100,000 a year, and you can't do those things because you're just not there yet, right? And it can inadvertently start making you feel worse about your situation, or start feeling overwhelmed about the magnitude of it all, right? I'm just making $10,000 a year. They're making $100,000 a year, but look at what all they're doing to get to that. And they have this established, they have that done. And oh my God, like I'm never going to get to that place, right? It can feel a little overwhelming. I think another, you know, I don't want to say danger, but I think another, caution there is that it may cause you to overestimate where you are in that moment, right? So the other side of that is that it could cause you to overestimate where you are in that moment, going too far out. So if I'm dealing with people that are making $100,000 and I'm just only making $10,000, well then I might try to start making $100,000 moves. And guess what? I'm not at $100,000. Like they can make those moves. They can take trips to Costa Rica and they can buy, Fendi bags, or do people still wear Fendi bags? I don't know. I'm not really into bags and stuff like that. I'm sticking with my little Michael Kors. Like, it took me forever to buy a name brand bag. You know what I'm saying? Not that I couldn't afford it, but because I just was never really into stuff like that, you know? And so now me and my little Michael, we hang tough, you know, we do our thing. But it might, hanging with people or spending time with people that are too far advanced from where you are, it might cause you to overestimate where you are in that moment and actually end up doing more harm than good. Okay. Um, on the contrary, surrounding yourself with people that are too close may not push you hard enough, and it might make you feel like you've arrived. I used to date this guy that, before we dated, he had never lived in his own apartment before. And so I had been on my own for a while. And so the fact that, like, once we moved in together and stuff like that, and then, whatever, he's my ex. So clearly shit didn't work out, and he ended up getting his own apartment. He was surrounded by people who still had roommates, or people who still live with their parents or still live with their family and stuff like that. So to him, because that was the only people that he was surrounded by, he felt like he had arrived. I'm doing better than my wildest imagination. And I'm like, you got a house, like, you got an apartment. Like, on my radar, on my ranking of things, that's at the bottom of the list. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been living on my own for a while. And so, but for him, it was a big deal that he was living on his own and he was doing better than everybody that he knew. And so he was not motivated to do anything more because he was already the big dog, as they say. Okay? So it's okay to have people in your corner that are at the same level, and you can definitely draw motivation from each other, but you want to make sure that you are also surrounding yourself with people who are 2 to 3 levels ahead of you. Okay, if you look around and you are the best at everything, you are the top dog. If you look around and everybody you know is doing worse than you, or everybody you know is looking up to you, then you need to start thinking about making the jump to another pond. I'm not saying leave your people behind. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying is that you need to be able to grow as well. Okay? Sometimes it's helpful to be the small fish in the pond. All right? Okay, the next tip that I want to give you is to evaluate your current relationships. So, in the masterclass, I really dig into this. So, I'm going to kind of just give y'all the Cliffs Notes version of this. And if you want to learn more, then you got to get the masterclass, okay? Um, but uh, but this is still really good information. So you want to evaluate your current relationships. I think the question that you want to ask yourself is, the people that currently make up your support network, are they really your tribe, right? Like, are these your core group of people? Are these your people, or are they just available to you? Okay? Are they just available to you? Because what happens a lot of times is that we end up keeping people around us because they don't have anywhere else to go, or because we don't have anywhere else to go. And it's not that these people are really our people, it's just that they're available, they're there, and I don't want to be by myself, right? And so that's never a good place to find yourself. All right. You want to make sure that the people that you surround yourself with are your people. These are people that get you, whatever, even if it's different facets of who you are. Like, contrary to popular belief, all of your friends don't need to be friends. Okay. You can have different subgroups of friends. Okay. And I have a whole, like, model for this. Okay. But your friends don't have to be friends. You can have friend groups or support groups that support the different aspects of who you are. So if you're a mom, then you can have a mommy group that supports you as a mom. If you are a poet, then you can have a poetry group that supports you as a poet, as a creative, right? If you are a wife, then you can have a wife group that supports you in being a wife, right? And the moms don't need to know the wives. And the wives don't need to know the poets, right? These are the different facets of who you are. And so your job is to make sure that you are feeding yourself, okay? And I'm gonna talk more about that, in a little bit in one of the next. I think it's the last one, okay? Another thing is that as you grow, you will find that some people just cannot find it in themselves to cheer you on. And so, all I really want to say about this right now is that I think the first thing that we always go to is, oh, child, they jealous. I hate when people say that. Oh, she jealous, girl. She just jealous because you got this and you got that and you all of this and you all of that and she ain't got none of that. I think we rely on that too much, and I could get real deep about it. I'm gonna try not to get real deep about it, in the sense of, we were definitely groomed this way, to black women, but black people in general, just they've been pitting us against each other for a very long time. And so our first thought is always that people who don't root for us or people who can't root for us are jealous of us. And I just don't believe that everybody is jealous. Like, I don't think that that is always the reason for it. I think that sometimes it's really about the mirror that you are holding up to them and their accomplishments or lack thereof, right? And so it's not always that they're jealous. I think more often than not, it's that seeing you be successful, seeing you pursue your dreams, seeing you accomplish tasks that you set out to accomplish, seeing you do those things reminds them of their own stagnation. Okay? And that's different than jealousy. Jealousy has an envious kind of touch to it, right? But it's, looking at it from this other perspective in the sense of, you know, this mirror, like looking in the mirror kind of thing, I think that's a whole different way of looking at the situation. I don't think it's always that they don't want to be happy for you. I think sometimes they genuinely cannot, because in their world, in their bubble, seeing you do these things reminds them that they haven't done these things. It reminds them that they had dreams, they had hopes, they had aspirations, and they had a lot of reasons why they didn't make it happen. And that's a very hard pill to swallow. Okay? So don't take it personally when you are engaging your growth journey and you have to start dropping some people off, and or people start to show themselves. Not everybody can be happy for you, or maybe even some people might talk shit about you. You know, some people might talk shit about you. Pain rears its head in a many different ways. All right? But don't take it personally. They can't come where you going. That's their issue. They have to work on their issue. You can't take it on for them. All right? Okay. So as you evaluate your current relationships, you want to nourish the relationships that have the highest potential to to be supportive, and mutually beneficial. And you want to adjust the relationships that either no longer serve you or cause you harm. And this adjustment can simply be a tweak in the relationship, or it can be a termination of the relationship. Okay. And so this is a process that I call people categorization. And I definitely, teach this step by step in the master class, right? But this is where it starts. It starts with the evaluation of those relationships. All right. The third tip that I want to give you is to get very clear about your expectations and your boundaries. All right. So I have a whole theory about expectations and boundaries. I know I told y'all about treeisms before, right? So I have a whole treeism about expectations and boundaries. Treeisms are how I make sense of the world. And so I like to throw out treeisms from time to time. Okay. So In my treesism, expectations and boundaries are really kind of like two sides of the same coin. I think that expectations are a personal experience, right? Expectations are for you, and boundaries are for the world around you, okay? Boundaries are expectations outlined for the rest of the world. All right. So, an expectation is a personal understanding. This is what I want. This is what I need. This is what I expect. Right. And then the boundary is the communication of the expectation to the outside world. Right. This is the line, and I need you to not cross it. This is the boundary. Okay. So expectations are for you. Boundaries are for the world around you. And this is a little bit deeper. It goes a little deeper than that. But that's a good place to start. All right. As you get clear about your expectations and your boundaries, you want to make sure that your expectations are realistic and that they are appropriate. All right. Realistic in the sense that they need to include what is actually important to you. So you have to be real about what is important to you. You have to be honest with yourself about what you can and cannot handle, all right? And what it is that you absolutely need to have in your life, and what it is that, is really just not that important, all right? And again, like I said, this process, I go a lot more into detail in the masterclass and really break this down, right? But then you also want to make sure that your expectations are appropriate, meaning that they need to be based on the nature of the relationship or the circumstance. So given this relationship, based on who this person has shown themselves to be, is my expectation of them appropriate? Based on who they have always shown me that they are, the way that they've interacted with me, the way that they've interacted with other people, is this an appropriate expectation for this person? Right? Is it appropriate expectation for this situation, for this circumstance? Right? Based on, like, for Mardi Gras, it's not appropriate to expect that you're going to get a parking space super easy. That's not an appropriate expectation for the circumstance. All right? So if you go to Mardi Gras and you get mad about the parking situation, well, shame on you. Shame on you. Right? Because your expectation was inappropriate to begin with. Does that make sense? I hope it does. All right? So you want to make sure that those expectations and boundaries are realistic and appropriate. And then the last tip that I have for y'all is to indulge in yourself. So this is, finding your people, finding new people, I think really starts with getting familiar with who you are, and getting comfortable with who you are. Okay, getting comfortable with that fact. All right, it helps you to be able to attract complementary spirits. We talk about the law of attraction. We talk about vibrating at a higher frequency and things like that. I think the more comfortable that you get in your own skin, and the more you really allow yourself to be who you are, and to express that this is who you are, then the more competent and confident you become in your selection process. So you start choosing people who can accept you for who you are, because now I'm comfortable in my skin, so I can find people who are also comfortable with me in this skin, but who are comfortable with themselves in their skin as well. Okay? You want to explore the parts of you that you've either been too afraid to show, or the parts of you that you've shown in the past and have had to, try to suppress because the world told you it wasn't okay for you to be that person. Okay? Explore those parts. All right? And see what happens. Indulge in yourself. All right? Okay, so those are your 4 tips. All right, stay within 2 to 3 levels ahead of where you are at all times. Evaluate your current relationships. Are they your people, or are they just available? Get clear about your expectations and boundaries. Make sure that they are realistic and appropriate. And then indulge in yourself. Explore who you are, put that on display, and your people will find you. You will be though you will attract your people. Okay. All right, so that's all I have for y'all in terms of, the topic portion of this. So coming up next is high five. All right, so today's high five actually is going to an entire movement. So there is this black superhero movement that is going on right now, and I am like really fucking loving it. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, y'all. It is amazing, and I love to see it happen because black people are superheroes. So there's this black superhero moment that's really taking place right now, and I'm one thing to know about me that I mean, I don't know. I feel like at this point a lot of people should know this about me, but I think people, when people first look at me, they don't assume this, and that really bothers me. But I enjoys a superhero movie, okay? I love a superhero movie like X-Men, love, okay? Like Luke Cage, love. So there's like this black superhero movement that's happening, and we've had black superheroes in the past, but now we are really seeing black superheroes come to the forefront, and they are in lead roles, right? Like carrying entire movies, entire shows, entire series. And so I'm super excited about this. So you know that the Black Panther movie is coming out on February 16th, and I am so ridiculously excited about this movie, y'all. It is, I have no words. I have no words to describe how excited I am about this movie. The Black Panther movie is set in Africa and is actually the highest grossing pre-sale tickets in Marvel history, right? Like, so pre-sale tickets went on sale the other day, or like maybe a week ago, last week sometime or something like that. And it is the highest grossing pre-sale tickets in Marvel history. They even beat out Captain America. Like, this movie is going to be huge, and I am so here for it. Okay, we getting all up in Africa. Viva Laquanda. All right, Lakanda. Look, I done said the wrong name. Viva Lakanda. It's just, it's amazing, and I love that the Black Panther is a prince, and so, or is he a king? I think he's a king. Listen, I like the movies and stuff, but I'm not like a super duper fan. I'm not one of those people that like dress up for Comic-Con and stuff. So don't hate me to all of those people who are. But there's another show. So there's Black Panther, and then there's another show that just aired this week, I think, on January 16th. And it's called Black Lightning. And so it's almost like the Black Flash. And so it comes on the CW, and it debuted on January 16th to 2.3 million viewers. So it actually had a very sturdy, like a really good debut. And I'm going to be honest, I don't watch a lot of like regular television, but I just saw the commercial for this for the very first time like 2 days ago. You know what I'm saying? But I will definitely be checking it out and trying to support that as well. And then, of course, like I mentioned earlier, we got Luke Cage. I love me some Luke Cage. He's on Netflix. He came out on Netflix in 2016, and Luke Cage is like freaking amazing. He wears a hoodie. He's bulletproof. Like, he's everything. Okay. And so, high five to the black superhero moment that's happening right now. I hope that we can see much, much more of it because in my mind, black people have always been superheroes. Now, what I will say is I would like to see some black female superheroes. I know we got Storm, and I love me some Storm, but I would like to see some leading lady kind of black superhero moments. We got, I guess Proud Mary, but Proud Mary ain't really a superhero, is she? I don't know. I haven't seen that movie yet, but I think I am going to go see it because, I enjoy me some Taraji. But yeah, so high five to the black superhero moment that's happening right now. I want to give a shout out to a couple of people and podcasts. So again, I want to give a shout out to Black Married Fly podcast over at BYNK Radio. This is one of my favorite podcasts, y'all. I listen to them all the time. It is a podcast about marriage, millennial marriage, from the Black folk perspective. And Candace and Trev are the hosts. They are a married couple and they are Black and they are fly as hell. And so, check out Black Married Fly podcast if you get a chance. I also want to give a shout out to Crystal Clear podcast. I wanted to give her a shout out last week, but it totally slipped my mind because the shout out thing is still kind of new for me. But I want to do it because these are podcasts that I actually listen to, and I want to just give them some love. And they've shown me a lot of love, to be honest. But Crystal Clear Podcast is the first podcast that I ever listened to be honest. And I love Crystal. Hey, Crystal. Hey, girl. And I love Crystal Clear. The podcast is really about her journey. So, we talk about the steps to moving along our journey here on Unicorns Talk Podcast. And Crystal is really sharing her journey, and I like the way that she does it. And so shout out to Crystal Clear Podcast. Shout out to It's Whatever Podcast. They've shown so much love. And I really enjoy their show. It's like, how many of y'all is it? I think it's like four hosts, which sounds like a lot. And I don't normally like to listen to that many people talking at one time, but I don't know. I feel like it works, it works. And so, shout out to It's Whatever Podcast. Also the Evolving Chair Podcast with Lakeisha, hey, Lakeisha Russell. Hey, Lakeisha. She's also a clinician and, she does a really good job of, helping us to heal our mind and our spirit. Okay, so shout out to the Evolving Chair podcast. And then finally, not a podcast, but I want to give a big shout out to True North Wellness and its founder, Danielle Burrell. Hey, Danny. I just want to say, hey, girl. Hey, Danielle and I are working on some things, some really big things for the Black Unicorn Project, which is my community website, the Black Unicorn Project. And so we had a really good meeting on yesterday, and I feel very good about the direction that things are going in. I think I'm actually going to have her on the show because she is a wealth of information. But we'll make that happen eventually, right? So hey, Danielle, shout out to True North Wellness. Check them out, y'all, if you get a chance. What else do I have going on? The Black Unicorn Project. Oh, the Black Unicorn Project is doing big things. So this week we actually launched two new things. So, I told y'all last week on Mondays, we are doing Mind, Body, Soul Mondays. And so this was like our first official, like, Mind, Body, Soul Monday. So we did our first recipe, which I have been wanting to do recipes, y'all, for literally like 2 years now. And my line sister has been like, when you gonna start the recipes? When you gonna do the recipes? So now we have recipes. Well, we have one. We have a recipe. It's the first of many, and it's the Fruitlicious dinner salad recipe. Y'all, this salad is the bomb.com. I'm telling y'all, this salad is so good. So head over to theblackunicornproject.com and check out the Fruitlicious salad recipe, dinner salad recipe. It's a whole meal just by itself, y'all, and it is so freaking good. And then this week we also launched the Buy Black review. And so the Black Unicorn Project is accepting product submissions of Black owned products that you would like to get reviewed. And so I am super, y'all, this is really like, this is something like that has been in the making for a long time, and it's very, very close to my heart. I am so proud of the Buy Black review. And so, head on over to the website, theblackunicornproject.com, and check out the Buy Black review. If you are a Black owned business, right now, we're just getting started. So, we're only doing like non-perishable items and things like that. But as we grow, we are going to expand to not only products, but also like businesses, like restaurants and tech companies, and like all of these different, because Black people are everywhere and Black people are inventing all kinds of things. And so, eventually we are going to expand out to try to capture as many things like events and happenings and things like that as well. But for right now, we're just getting started. So we're doing non-perishable products, which can actually include a whole lot of things. So to find out more information, go to theblackunicornproject.com and check out the guidelines and make sure that you understand the selection process. And it's completely free to submit your product. It's completely free to get your product reviewed. There's no guarantee that your product will be reviewed. But hey, shoot your shot. I did an episode on that. Go back and listen to it. Shoot your freaking shot. Never know what could happen. All right. So that's what the Black Unicorn Project has going on. Of course, I still have my Facebook group, Trust Village, and we are growing, growing, growing. We actually have over 300 members now. And so that's a big deal. I'm really excited about that. I also do From Scratch Live, which is a Facebook Live show that I do, like a vlog that I do on Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, on my Facebook page, which is Latrice Sampson Richards, Life Enhancement Coach. And so make sure that you go and like me on Facebook, so that you can know when I'm going live. That'll be tomorrow. Okay. And of course, make sure that you follow us on all of the social medias: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Unicorns Talk Pod, and rate us on iTunes. I know y'all are listening because y'all are telling me that y'all are listening, but I need y'all to tell other people that you're listening as well, okay? And so when you rate the show on iTunes, it actually helps, in terms of getting my name out there and things like that. So share me with the world. Let the people know that you enjoy the show. Let the people know, hey, this girl is over here and she talking some real deal shit, and y'all might want to check her out, okay? I appreciate y'all. All right. So I think that's it. That is, oh no, one last thing. Rich Girl Live. So my business coach, her name is Tiffany Williams, and she has business. Her business is called the Rich Girl Collective. And so she really teaches women how to quit their 9 to 5, by building an online empire. And so she is helping me to get my life in this online world. And I will be speaking at her event, Rich Girl Live. And this is a really, really big deal. Rich Girl Live is like, it's an intense, like one-on-one. Well, it's not one-on-one, but it's a small group session. There'll be 50 women there. It's all about getting your business life together. So if you have a business idea, if you have a business you've already started and you're trying to grow it, things like that, it is a group intensive, and she is amazing. And so she has asked me to speak at her event. And so I am honored by this. So if you want to meet me, girl, come on down. It's going to be in New Orleans, which is always a good time. I'm born and raised in New Orleans. And so I'm really looking forward to that. So you can find out more information about Rich Girl Live at richgirllive.com. Okay. And so, yeah, what else? That's it, y'all. That's it. All right. So as usual, I love y'all and I appreciate y'all. Okay. I really appreciate y'all. And so, until next time, be well. Bye.